20-year anniversary party for Phantom Menace, baby. So, it's been 20 freaking years already since the Phantom Menace came out. Can you believe that? 1999. I was in 11th grade, so I was like 17. And I'll tell you, going into that theater and watching this, it was... oh my god. The Phantom Menace is having a really, really pretty girlfriend who's picking her nose. I love Star Wars. Anakin, remember the sand people? Alright, here we go. Let's continue this. Let's see where we were here. So in my edit here, when the ship lands, the first thing is the Emperor comes. This is great. I love this about this movie. I like these aliens because they're not CGI, they're rubber puppet costume heads, and for me, it's great. Yes, I know it's a costume, but at least it looks real. At least it is existing in 3 dimensions, okay? And these aliens look very Star Warsy. And the reason why they look Star Warsy is because they're just like something that would have been in the original trilogy. A guy in a costume with like a mask on and a cape. That's what I want. I like this here. And he's like, kill them immediately. And now in my version here, we still have not seen any Jedi, okay? He says, the Chancellor should never put him into this. Kill them immediately. So, Captain, look! Shields up! And they blow him. He's like, ow! And then the guy's like, make sure that they are dead. So they blew up the ship, and now he's telling the droids to go into the hangar and make sure that they're dead. And see, the ship just exploded. So there's a bunch of like smoke inside the hangar, and then boom, you see the lightsabers? And this is the first time you should have ever seen the Jedi in the Phantom Menace. Coming out of that door with their lightsabers swinging, okay? And now the reason why this should be the first time you see the Jedi in the movie is because think back to A New Hope at the very beginning. What happens? We're watching the door blast out and the stormtroopers, the bad guys, come out of the smoke, out of the door, and with guns blazing. Instead of stormtroopers coming out of the smoke and blasting through the door, it's Jedi Knights coming through the door with their lightsabers. I don't know. To me, that's perfect. And the fact that you see their lightsabers in the smoke before you see them. First we see the lightsabers, then we see them in action, then we get to know them. That's how you do it. So I always really liked this. This is cool. You know, it's showing him using the lightsaber in a way that we've never seen before, like cutting it into the door. And like, you know, I remember when I was watching this in the theater, I really enjoyed this part, this moment. This is a part of the movie I remember clearly sitting there watching this part. I'm trying to make these videos because I want to talk about Star Wars. Star Wars. Anyway, 20 years since The Phantom Menace came out. Oh my. No need to report if you have nothing to report. Another thing I really like is the famous Jedi Speed Run. I think it is awesome. I wish they did this more. It reminds me of, like, remember in Mega Man X when you could run, but then you could also shoot forward? Like, that's what it reminds me of. And I think this is great. I've heard some people talk shit about this. Yeah, okay, there's the whole, like, why didn't he do it at the end of the movie to save Qui-Gon? But you know what? He didn't do it. Okay, whatever. So anyway, and it just looks cool with the 2 lightsabers and, like, like, flying away. I was really enjoying this, okay? Granted, the movie sucks, so let's just look at the good stuff. So the Jedi run away, and in my edit, right there, the Jedi are gone, and the guys are like, we got them with the destroyer droids, we don't need to worry about them anymore. And they get distracted because Queen Amidala calls them. So Queen Amidala comes in, and I guess George Lucas must have watched, like, Tom Cruise in the Last Samurai or something, or some kind of movie that had geishas in it. And so he was like, I want that in my movie. So he put it there. So Queen Amidala's whole thing, it's whatever. It doesn't bother me too much. Now we're down on not Alderaan, Naboo. I love this scene, this shot here. I really love this. And this is when we see our buddy Palpatine. Oh man, it's so good to see him. Like, he's my favorite character in the prequel movies. And he's like, how could that be so? The ambassadors did arrive. Where are the Chancellor's ambassadors? Alright, Sio Bibble, man. Sio Bibble, he's one of my favorite things about the Phantom Menace. I know he's not anything, like, really stupendous or anything. He's just a guy sitting. But look at, he's sitting here and he's got his little, like, costume on. And, like, in the back, you can see, like, the grandeur of the building. And He's there. He's got his little beard and his little like hair. He's like kind of like a little like Lord of the Rings guy. He's like a communications breakdown can mean only one thing: invasion. It's outrageous. There hasn't been a full stimulus tax since the formation of the Republic. So Sio Bibble is one. I wish he was in it a little more. I like how he came back for a quick little scene in Attack of the Clones. So he can, when they come back to this same castle and it's nice seeing him, knowing that 10 years later after this he's still like around. Sio Bibble is one of the great things about Star Wars: The Phantom Menace. Anakin, you know, don't you? So now the droid army from the Trade Federation is landing on the planet, and they're coming down, and we're seeing all the battle droids flying around and stuff. And this stuff it looks nice. It's got like the nice green, and this is nice ship design coming here. So the Jedi are missing, and the aliens don't know where they are. The Jedis did the speed run away and lost track of them, and so the aliens are on the planet, and they're like, "There is no trace of the Jedi. They must have gotten on one of your craft. Use a caution. These Jedi are not to be underestimated." I don't want anyone to be under the wrong impression. I fucking hate these battle droid things. I think they're so fucking stupid with their Roger shit. Okay, just want to get that out of the way. And this is nice. I like this blue hologram and the green in the back with the battle droids going by. Everything looks cool, and we got some like cool, animals that we see on this planet. And now we see the Jedi. There's Qui-Gon, and he's running just like the last time we saw him up on the ship, running. Remember, they did the speed run and they got away. And the next time we see him is just on the planet running still. On the move, like action, Jedi in action. These Jedi are not to be underestimated. You gotta keep the movie moving. Anyway, so the Jedi are running to get out of the way of these big ships, and then here's our buddy Jar Jar. It was the moment in time when Jar Jar first appeared. It was the first time sighting ever of Jar Jar in the forest. The world that we knew would never be the same again. So I like, even though like we got Jar Jar, if you cut out a lot of stuff and you just kind of keep it moving, it turns out pretty good, and nice little having a scene on the forest. I like this part. And he's like, "What's this?" "A local. Let's go before more droids show up." And then Jar Jar's like, "Droids? Droids to speak?" And then right there, it should cut to the big droid army coming down into the fields of not Alderaan and invading the city, the palace. And the Jedis are coming. There's Qui-Gon. They come down with the droids. They come into the city just as fast as the droids did. And they're all here. So this part goes, they get rid of the droids real easily. Kind of boring, but then they come in here and he's like, "We're ambassadors to the Supreme Chancellor. Your negotiations seem to have failed, Ambassador. The negotiations never took place." And so this is fun. This is all good. See, when the movie's moving along, and you're not getting bogged down by going underwater world and having Jar Jar talking all the time, then the movie's kind of fun to watch. The Phantom Menace 20-year anniversary, baby. So Qui-Gon convinces the Queen to come with him to the capital because Chancellor Palpatine will need your help. And this is cool. They're like all like walking out, like the Jedis look badass. And I gotta say that I guess the battle droids must be competent in some way because all of these guards have been, basically subdued and they're not willing to fight the droids. So the droids must have some kind of, ability. But the Jedi Knights are just like, they really know how to fight these droids, I tell you. Basically, I just learned that these little parts are just an excuse to let me watch the Jedis with their lightsabers and, protecting people and defending peace and prosperity in the galaxy. So that's cool. I like this stuff. This is fun. And this is the last time we'll see a lightsaber until the middle of the movie. So they're taking off. They're flying. Obi-Wan tells Jar Jar to stop acting like an idiot. Qui-Gon looks like a badass. There's Rio Mickey or whatever his name is. I can't remember it. Rio. And like this, getting shot by the things, that's cool. Uh-oh. Shield generator's been hit! These little old school R2-D2 units. And you got some old ones like R5-D4 but yellow. You have like a red R2-D2. So all the different like varieties of R2-D2s. And now this is a very, very quick thing. Obi-Wan Kenobi in A New Hope was looking at R2-D2 and R2-D2 saying that R2-D2 is property of Obi-Wan Kenobi. And Obi-Wan Kenobi says, "I don't remember ever owning any droids." Ever since the prequels came out, I'm thinking, how does Obi-Wan Kenobi not remember R2? It's the exact same droid. But right here in this shot, I like this, what George did. He showed two R2 units that are basically both exactly R2, like the style of R2-D2. So that's cool. That kind of explains why Obi-Wan is not really impressed by an R2 unit saying that it knows him. And everything just looks cool, except of course the fact that Jar Jar's there. But man, the way that like the R2-D2 shoots up the thing and then he comes up and he's outside and it slides down. Now I want to talk about practicality and believability in movies, in Star Wars. And this is perfect because it's showing the R2-D2s doing something very exciting and dangerous, but it's not like stupid and goofy. When R2-D2 starts flying around on rocket boosters and blowing up Star Destroyers and just taking on the whole Empire on their own, that's stupid, okay? It's stupid! It's stupid! This is good, though. This is another scene in the movie. The first time I was in the theater watching it, I was totally engaged. This is great. The problem is that it won't last. So let's go back here, check this out. So the R2-D2, he's like working on all those little R2-D2 buddies are getting exploded, and the guy's like, we're losing droids fast! And that's cool how like we see one of the droids like die, like gave his life to fight. And I love like this shot up close of R2-D2 like looking back and then showing me that like all like the Star Wars tech, the way the Star Wars tech is like future but mixed with like kind of like the past. And this is another thing about the sequel trilogy. Where is R2-D2? Well, we're going to make a new droid. This is for the new generation that we made up called BB-8, and he's going to look like a soccer ball. And he's going to have totally new noises, and he's going to be the new droid. Excuse me, but BB-8 is not what made Star Wars great. It was R2-D2 that everybody loved. The original Star Wars had R2-D2 in it. In the very first movie, he was like him and C-3PO were like the main characters for the first like 20 minutes. Everyone loves R2-D2. He's cute. We know him. He has like kind of like an attitude. So he actually has a personality. And he doesn't even talk. But everyone loves those beeping noises. The beeping noises that R2-D2 makes. R2-D2 is charming, even though he can be kind of like a little dick sometimes. That's why we love R2-D2. So I like this part here after they had gotten away from the blockade. And they're kind of giving R2-D2 some respect because he saved the ship and survived getting blasted into a million pieces. And I think R2-D2 looks really cool. He's just like sitting there. He's like all dirty, like battle scars and stuff. And he's R2-D2, Your Highness. Thank you, R2-D2. Qui-Gon's like, we're going to a remote planet called Tatooine. It's a system far beyond the reaches of the Trade Federation. And then Cat Banaka's like, I do not agree with the Jedi on this. I'm the one with the lightsaber, Your Highness. Therefore, you will listen to me. He's using the old Jedi mind trick. Oh, 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 oh. Ah, 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 ah. Wake me up, little fighter. So now we're at Tatooine. Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan have taken over control of the ship, it appears, and we're going to land on the outskirts as do not attract attention. This is another scene where when I was sitting in the theater, I strongly remember sitting there watching this scene of Qui-Gon walking in and talking with his little poncho and putting his little poncho on, and Obi-Wan's there working on a thing, and he's like, I feel a disturbance in the Force. I feel it also. Right there, I was like, okay, this is a Star Wars movie. But of course, it doesn't last very long. So they're going to Tatooine, and for some stupid reason, Jar Binks is going, but you know, when you edit out all his dialogue and he's, you know, you kind of forget he's there except for when he starts like flailing his arms. But I really like this part because this is all like a real set. They're on location outside somewhere. Look, they got the bantha in the background. You got the moisture evaporators. This is totally the Jawas, the big tall guy. There's so much stuff going on in the background, and I love this. Like, you can tell that these buildings back here are actually real. You know, of course, there's some CGI for the big tall ones in the back, but we'll try one of the smaller dealers. Oh, God. Who the fuck? What's this guy's name? Sebulba? No, Watto. Oh, God. It's like, don't we have enough with the one Jar Jar? Why do you want another one? Watto, he just looks so dumb and ugly and stupid CGI with a dumb voice. It's just so dumb. So you just have to, like, grin and bear it and slog through this part. Now, I will talk about some things I really like about this scene. I'm going to give a big shout out to the people who worked on the props and the set. This stuff looks awesome. Especially, I like this R2-D2 back here, or this R2 unit back in an oil bath. And he's got these, like, two little bristle scrub brushes, like, spinning on his head. That's cool. I think it would have been nice to maybe have, like, a couple second shot close-up of it, just to kind of show it. I mean, this is what I don't understand about Lucasfilm sometimes, is that they'll spend all this money and energy and people's talent to, like, design creatures and droids and design sets and design props, and then they build the props, and then they put the props up, and they get it all working, and then, like, you don't even film it. Yeah, so Watto, I can't stand Watto. He's just another Jar Jar ruining everything. But, you know, there's still a lot of good stuff going on. Like, look at all this, like, cool stuff up on the ceiling. Like, they did a good job building this set. You got Padme over here with her little blue shirt and R2-D2 standing behind her. This is nice. Qui-Gon with his poncho. Here comes Anakin. He's like, Nachasa no Basa! And what, yeah, okay, Anakin, the kid who played Anakin was not really a good actor, but what are you gonna do? That little kid is 100 times better than these CGI atrocities. Here's another thing I like, another droid in the background that I'm going to point out and talk about, because that's what we're doing. We're 20-year celebration, baby, of Phantom Menace. This droid back here, this big, like, I don't know what it is, what its job is, but man, it's cool. It looks cool. It looks like something from Star Wars, and in the background, when Anakin was talking, it was, like, moving. They're the most beautiful creatures in the galaxy. I'm a person, and my name is Anakin. And one day, I'm gonna fly away from this place, and I'm gonna wear a big black scary costume and a black helmet, and I'm gonna have a red lightsaber, and I'm gonna kill everybody. Okay. Try to miss you too. Choking. Choking. So Qui-Gon doesn't have any luck with Watto, and Obi-Wan's still hanging out back at the ship. So Qui-Gon calls him, is like, do we have anything we could barter with? And Obi-Wan's like, a few containers of supplies. The Queen's wardrobe, maybe. Obi-Wan, you haven't been trying on any of those clothes, have you? No. So we start walking around. They don't really have any idea what to do. They have to figure something out. And then there's a stupid scene with Jar Jar acting like an idiot, trying to eat big dumb frogs. Oh, it's just so dumb. This guy here is really cool. He's like, you know, like I said before, he's just a guy in a costume with a rubber mask, and it looks cool. It's real. It's not dumb CGI. Like, if they had done this same design, but in CGI, I would hate it. Because it's CGI. Yeah, CGI can look good sometimes, and it is useful in some things. But come on, man. For Star Wars movies, stick to the rubber costumes. It's so much better. It's just more fun and looks better. So this is when we meet stupid-ass Sebulba. I hate Sebulba. He's just so dumb. Anyway, I'm not even going to spend any time talking about Sebulba because I hate Sebulba more than Jar Jar. What is this, number 3 Jar Jars? We have Jar Jar, Watto, and now Sebulba. Ugh, God. Basically, in my edit, every fucking shot of him is edited out except for like 2 or 3. And then here, Obi-Wan's hanging around still at the ship, and there's like a sandstorm coming, and he's like, this storm looks really bad. It's pretty bad. And here, it looks like Qui-Gon is sensing some kind of disturbance in the Force. And then Anakin's like, here, you'll like these cherries. And then we see Qui-Gon's little Toys R Us plastic lightsaber. Oh, there's a storm coming up, Annie. Better get home quick. It's like a Waterworld Lady. It's like, hey, lady, Waterworld called. They want their cast back. So, you know, Anakin's walking with Padme. They're kind of like friends. You know, it's cool. So this part's cool. You're like walking through the sandstorm, and like we can see all like the really cool set that they build. I love this set with like the little steps and how it's like a little, like kind of like a little ghetto here that Anakin lives in. It's really a shame that this nice scene here, this shot of our 3 main characters walking with this nice backdrop, like we have to have this big dumb stupid Jar Jar Binks cartoon walking like right in my fucking way of my characters. I'm trying to watch Qui-Gon and Padme and Anakin walk in this spot, and there's this dumb fucking shit in my way. So now we get to go inside Anakin's little house, and Anakin's house is really cool. It looks cozy, and even Jar Jar says so, and there's all these like little snow shovels, and then Anakin's mom comes out, and I think the casting choice in Anakin's mom was very, very good. I think she looks like what you would think Darth Vader's mom would probably look like, and she's just, you know, for an older lady, she's pretty attractive. I bet in her younger days she was quite the looker. These are my friends, Mom. Your son was kind enough to offer us shelter. And then they go, and he's like, come on, I'm building a droid, want to see it? And they go in, R2's like walking by. And then we see C-3PO. Apparently, Anakin is building C-3PO. And you know what? I'm totally down with the idea of Anakin building C-3PO. And I actually think this little C-3PO puppet thing that they built is freaking awesome. I love it. You know, you go in and a little kid who's Darth Vader has built C-3PO. The problem with this is any kind of goodness about this is totally destroyed because we see protocol droids in the movie before this. You see him walking around everywhere. If you're gonna make it so that Anakin Skywalker built C-3PO, make it so that there are no C-3POs anywhere in the galaxy yet. There's no such thing as a C-3PO until Anakin came around and he built a protocol droid. Come on, man, George, what the hell is wrong with you? It's stupid, it's stupid! It's better to just pretend that there were never any C-3POs and this is the very first protocol droid. It turns out C-3PO was the very first protocol droid ever made. Cool! That's awesome! So they're in there and he's showing it to Padme. It's a protocol droid, help Mom! He turns him on and he's missing one of the eyes. All this stuff is awesome. It's C-3PO, Anthony Daniels coming back. And he's got his old school C-3PO charm and Padme's looking at him like just kind of... And then he gets up and he's like, this floor is not entirely sable. And he's talking to R2 and R2's like making fun of him. It's great. I love this part. This is really cool. So back at the ship, Obi-Wan and everybody's watching a hologram of Sio Bibble. He's like, the death toll is catastrophic. You must contact me. And then Obi-Wan's like, send no reply. And then Qui-Gon's like, sounds like bait to establish a connection. What if it is true? The people are dying. Either way, you need to stop calling me, Obi-Wan. I'm trying to score with this kid's mother. So there's a big sandstorm outside, and now they're sitting around the table and gonna have a little snack, and this is a nice little scene. Of course, you have to edit out all of Jar Jar's stupid shit because it completely destroys the tone and seriousness of this scene. This is the first time Anakin Skywalker has ever, pretty much that we know of, met a Jedi. So then Anakin's like, you're a Jedi Knight, aren't you? What makes you think that? I saw your laser sword. Only Jedi carry that kind of weapon. Perhaps I killed the Jedi and took it from him. I don't think so. No one can kill a Jedi. I wish that was so. This scene is so nice, except that George Lucas put Jar Jar, so we have to take Jar Jar out, and now we have a nice scene. But it'll never be a great scene. What makes you think that? Because it was ruined by Jar Jar. Anyway, so Qui-Gon eats an olive, and everyone's hanging out, and Anakin's mom kind of explains how we're on the Outer Rim and there's no Republic out here, and that's why Qui-Gon's money doesn't work, and so they're really stuck. And that's when Anakin, says, there's a big race tomorrow on Boonta-Eve. You can enter my pod. Anakin. Oh. That dinner table scene, I really like that scene. I think it's a great scene. Just, you gotta edit out Jar Jar. This scene is like a very important deciding moment in the life of Anakin Skywalker. And also, it's the one moment in his life that he actually had a family. His whole family was right here at the table. You had him, Padme, who was his future wife. Anakin's mother doesn't even know that this girl Padme is Anakin's future wife. You also got Qui-Gon, who's basically like Anakin's father. You got R2, C-3PO, and yeah, Jar Jar. It's very rude and insulting to put something like Jar Jar Binks in an important scene like this. It's very rude. The Phantom Menace 20-year anniversary, baby. So the weather dies down and everybody goes back outside, and Qui-Gon agrees that the best way to get out of this debacle is to engage in some good old-fashioned gambling at the racetrack. Qui-Gon doesn't know it, but this girl Padme is actually the queen, and she's not very jazzed about this whole situation. And Obi-Wan's still farting around the ship, and he's like, what if this plan of yours fails, Master? We could be stuck here a very long time. Well, we can't call for help. And plus, I'm gonna totally bang this kid's mom. And so Qui-Gon Jinn and Anakin's mom are basically like a couple now, and they're like looking at Anakin, and just a nice little scene, and Qui-Gon's like, the Force is unusually strong with him. That much is clear. And in my edit, I've totally gotten rid of the whole divine conception of like Anakin being like some kind of baby born out of the Force with no father. That is just so dumb. Like, look, he's Anakin Skywalker. He's Darth Vader. He's not Jesus. Okay? He's just a kid who grew up to be this big militant warrior who got power and took over. That's it. He's not like some kind of like super god man. Anakin's working on the ship, and Qui-Gon and Anakin's mom are like hitting on each other, and then you got these kids come out, and I want to talk about this little Greedo guy here. I think that's Warrick Davis, which to me, Willow, is one of the most underrated movies ever. Why couldn't have this little Greedo guy have been Jar Jar? I would have totally rather had this little rubber costume midget Greedo guy played by Warrick Davis, but I like the little midget Greedo with his little Halloween costume and his little rubber floppy fingers. That's Star Wars. That's what Star Wars is. So he gets the ship going. R2's like working on it with like his little arm out. And, you know, the Podracer is pretty cool. It looks like a good mix of CGI with lots of practical effects. And Anakin's like, it's working! It's working! And then later that night, Qui-Gon's hanging out with Anakin out on the balcony. And they're like, Anakin's like cleaning his little cut, and they're talking about the stars and stuff. This is a cool scene. I like this. This is very, you know, it's like little Darth Vader. He's talking to this Qui-Gon guy. And then Anakin's mom is like trying to get Anakin to go to bed because she's ready to get down and dirty with Qui-Gon. And like I said before, this one day and night was the best night of Anakin's life. He had a mother, he had a father, you know, he had a bedtime. Anakin asks if all of the stars have systems, and Qui-Gon's like, most of them. One day I'm gonna see them all and blow them up. And it's nice. It's like little Darth Vader when he was a little kid, like looking up at the stars, like foreshadowing that one day he was gonna go up there and like basically conquer the galaxy. It's cool. I like it. So it's the next day over at Boonta-Eve, and there's a big race, and I like all this stuff. It's cool. It's like Mos Eisley. And then you got this shot of inside the thing, and then the family's coming on the horses. Everybody's happy. And then Watto comes and looking all stupid and ugly. And then Qui-Gon comes and helps Anakin's mom down because he totally banged her last night, and basically at this point they're like a couple as far as I'm concerned. C-3PO doesn't want to go on a starship, but everyone knows he will one day. I'm sure you'll do it this time, Anakin. And we find out here that Anakin actually has never even finished a race, so now Padme's getting very skeptical of this plan that Qui-Gon has put together. Really, this plan is just an excuse for Qui-Gon to gamble. So here we go, we're at the racetrack, and basically, I guess George Lucas wanted to have like a scene from Ben-Hur in his movie of a big race, which is fine, I don't care. We got Jar Jar, Watto, Sebulba, and now, two-headed retard man. Oh my god. Bisa Gago Gungu! That's right! We're here at the race today at the Watto Scrubbo. It was just, I was like, oh god, so dumb. Anyway, so basically I've edited out two-headed monster. It's really, but all this stuff is awesome. I like this, or like pulling the ship out, and you see all the other ships. You see the big like beast of burden in the background, not in front of me. See, that's, if you want to put a big CGI monster, that's where you put it. You put it back there. You don't put it in front of my characters that I actually care about. And that's the one shot of Sebulba that I left in mostly because I just wanted to leave in the little shot there of Warrick Davis sitting over there. And a late entry, a local boy, Anakin Skywalker. And he's like waving to everybody. It's kind of like, it's just right out of Ben-Hur, which is cool, you know, like Darth Vader when he was a little kid, he was like already kind of like a celebrity. And now the racers are going out on the track. And they got this part where, like, just like out of Ben-Hur when, like, they're coming out with the flags, and C-3PO holding the flag. And then Qui-Gon comes and he's like, all set, Annie? Whoa! And then Qui-Gon's like, remember, feel, don't think. Use the Force. I will. Then Qui-Gon, like, gives the helmet to his son. And the prequels always sort of convey that Obi-Wan was like a father figure to Anakin. But that's not really what you get out of it. You get the feeling more that Obi-Wan and Anakin were like brothers. To me, if anyone was Anakin's, you know, fill-in father, it's Qui-Gon. I mean, come on. Obi-Wan never spent the night with Anakin's mom. So, the race is getting all revved up. All the workers are like running. I like that part. And then Padme's getting into it with Qui-Gon, and Qui-Gon has a reminder that he's the one with the lightsaber. That's right, folks! Get ready for a big fat race! 10 things you didn't know about Darth Vader's suit! Alright, so everyone's getting ready for the race. It all comes down to this. If this doesn't work, I don't know what they're gonna do. Anakin's putting on his little glasses. Always makes me think of that Christmas Story movie. Now there's that stupid alien. This alien's cool. I like that alien. The big, like, alligator guy. I could never tell if this is a puppet or a CGI. It looks like a puppet. It looks real, which is probably why I like it. This guy's dumb. Sebulba's the worst thing I've ever seen. And, of course, Anakin's pod doesn't work for some reason, which puts him to a disadvantage. Little Skywalker's stalled. He'll be hard-pressed to catch up with the leaders. Chuba! And this guy's pod is also having problems. But yeah, Anakin gets his stuff going. There's like a three-eyed guy, like from Jabba's palace. He's cool. And I like it when the ships crash. It looks pretty violent. Now, all this stuff, a lot of this is CGI, and as you know, I'm not a big fan of CGI, but I'm really only not a fan of the CGI when it looks bad or you're using it for a main character. But all this stuff looks awesome. Like there's going through Beggar's Canyon. And they go in this like cave, and there's a big giant explosion because that little alien hits that. And that's pretty intense right there, that part. He barely made it out of there. This stuff is pretty good. And then you got some sand people posted up, shooting at them. You know, it's awesome how, like, out here on the Outer Rim on Tatooine, like, no one's going to stop these sand people from doing that. It's cool. It's like the Wild West. It's like, yeah, you want some sand people posted up there firing at the racer? That's cool. You know, no one's going to stop them. There goes Quadranero's power coupling. The Bulba! And this guy's like stops. He's like, "Que pasa, que pasa, que pasa?" Look, here he comes! Yay! Yippee! And R2 is like telling C-3PO that that's only the first round and there's still 2 more laps to go. Rawr! The Bulba! Oh no! I'll try spinning. That's a good track. There goes Quadranero's power coupling. And then Anakin has like some problems with his ship and he's got to fix it. And I like how they zoom in real close to the dashboard and show you all the little control panels and how he's like moving all the little switches around. That's awesome. I like that. And then we get to the famous Ben-Hur scene where the 2 chariots grab onto each other and they're about to rip each other apart. But then our good guy wins and is victorious. Yay! And that's actually, this one shot right here is the 1 second. It's the only second in the whole movie that Qui-Gon cracks a smile. And then little Greedo and this kid like try to high-five each other but totally miss. And like George Lucas just kept it in the movie. I mean, come on, you're sitting there, you're directing it. You just filmed this kid and this little green puppet try to give each other a high-five and they miss. You think you say, no, do it again and get it right. Either have them high-five or don't. Mom, I did it! I sure hope I was recording. So Anakin's set free because he won the race. Qui-Gon gives him the money that he won, and he's like, "Hey, Mom, look at all the money we got." Now I want to talk about Anakin's mom's little work desk here. I think it's really cool. It's like got all this stuff up here, like this weird white circle, and she's got lots of like little tools and tiny little pieces. And she's got her cool little like armband with the little screws on it. It's cool. And Qui-Gon tells him that he's been free, and he's like, "Did you hear that? Now you can make your dreams come true, Anakin. You will be Lord Vader." You mean I get to come with you in a car seat? Anakin. Riding in the car seat is not an easy challenge. And even if you succeed, it's a hard ride. But it's what I've always dreamed of doing it. You know, all this is nice, little Anakin saying goodbye to his mom. I want to do it. Well, then pack your things. What about Bob? Is he free too? I tried to free Bob, Anakin, but Watto wouldn't allow it. So while Anakin's saying goodbye to C-3PO and packing up his little backpack, Qui-Gon and Anakin's mom decide to have one last quickie. And right before they leave, Anakin decides to have one last second guess, decide which direction to take his life. And I like this scene here. I'm really glad that George Lucas pulled back and really got a nice big wide shot of this set that they built, because this little Tatooine ghetto that Anakin lives in is really cool. It's like an apartment complex or something with all the little steps and the tiny little doors. It's like a cool place. Like everyone's got their little spot. There's like a guy sitting over there. There he goes. And that's the last time we see Anakin Skywalker's mom. And then meanwhile, there's like this Imperial-looking probe droid flying around, probably looking for Qui-Gon, because they know that he was gambling again. And then here comes some kind of strange phantom menace. Who is this? Now this should have been the first time in the movie we ever saw Darth Maul. We shouldn't have had any stupid scenes of him standing around or farting around. It should have just been right out of the gate, coming like a bat out of hell. We don't know who he is or what he is. Qui-Gon's in trouble. Lower that, fly low. And of course, it goes without saying that this part is incredibly awesome and total Star Wars. You know, we've never seen 2 people fighting with lightsabers on Tatooine before, so this is the first time for that. That's cool. That's awesome. Then Qui-Gon jumps up. I always really liked that shot right there of Qui-Gon like jumping up onto the ramp with his lightsaber and his little poncho flapping in the wind. It's like totally Star Wars Jedi Knights of the Old Republic. And then he gets away, and Qui-Gon basically knows he got his ass beat. What was it? I don't know. But it was well trained in the Jedi arts. Well, what are we going to do about it? We shall be patient. Oh, man! And then Anakin and Obi-Wan meet for the very first time, and I think Obi-Wan's kind of skeptical that Qui-Gon has this like problem of collecting vagrants and bringing them with him. But that's why Qui-Gon's cool. He's like that kind of guy. And then Padme comes in, and she's dressed back in her like royal gown, and Sio Bibble's like, "You must Contact me! Basically, this is just to remind the viewers what's actually going on, what the real mission was, because we just spent the last half hour on Desert Planet flying pods. Anakin's sitting over there. He talks about how space is cold. That's a nice little touch, you know, kind of showing how Anakin's like fish out of water, not used to it yet. And so Anakin gives Padme a little like amulet that he made. He's like, I carved it out of a support snippet. Ew. And you got to admit, little Anakin, he's kind of the player, man. The little boy, and he likes this older girl, and he knows what he likes, and he's going after it. You know, to be honest, I can remember when I was this kid's age, I used to like older girls. I used to love the older girls who were like in middle school. They were just like out of this world, man, and I loved them. So I can totally relate. That's kind of cool. It's like when you see Darth Vader, you think when he was a little kid, he was totally into older women, you know? He's wise beyond his years. Which is why he spent years building on pods and droids. Want to see it? Little does she know that one day she will birth his children. And so our band of friends has finally made it to their true destination, which was the capital, Coruscant, of the Galactic Senate. The whole planet is one big city. There's Chancellor Valorum waiting for us now. There's the Emperor down there. Before he was the Emperor, he's just like a senator. And there's like all these like cool like royal guards, kind of like the red guards from Return of the Jedi, but they're blue. Perhaps you'd like to meet Chancellor Valorum. Welcome, Your Highness. Enough with the pleasantries. I'm here to put you back on schedule. We have ordered a luncheon, Your Highness. We have coffee and cookies. And then Qui-Gon's like, I must speak with the Jedi Council immediately. But first, I need a drink. And I just want to point out that I really like the feeling you get from this planet. Like, we just came from this really, really dirty and dusty and like rugged desert planet with the pod racing and all the sand people, but now we're here and everything's like clean and everybody's like got their little cushy jobs and their little luncheon and their coffee and cookies, and the Republic is not what it once was. The Senate is filled with greedy, squabbling delegates. There is no interest in the common good. I must be frank, Your Majesty, there's very little chance the Senate will act on the invasion. Chancellor Valorum seems to think there's hope. If I may say so, Your Majesty, the Chancellor has very little real power. He is mired by baseless accusations of corruption. What options do we have? Our best option would be to allow me to take over as Chancellor, install an evil galactic empire which would rule the galaxy with an iron fist. You could call for a vote of no confidence in Chancellor Valorum. He's been our strongest supporter. Your Majesty, really, why must you do this? Our people are suffering, dying. We must do something quickly. So now we're going to go to the big giant mushroom that all the people from all over the galaxy meet up inside, and I like this stuff because it really, you know, the original Star Wars A New Hope was all just the outcome of a big political fiasco, and that's what we're seeing now. It's great. A tragedy has occurred, which started right here with the taxation of the trade routes, and is now engulfed our entire planet into the oppression of the Trade Federation. This is an outrage! I demand that an investigation be launched to investigate event. Do you explain the validity of your accusation? You will not speak out beyond your turn there, Viceroy. You will not tell me how to do. Sit down, you order me. Gentlemen, your toxic masculinity is getting us nowhere. And then Chancellor Vorum's like, oh, shit. And then Emperor's like trying to like whisper in the Queen's ear to get her to do what he wants. It's awesome. Stuff is so cool. I love this blue guy here with the big horns, big spike head guy. I want that in my movie.